People pass on their pensions, due to be announced later today at the Conservative Party conference. The Chancellor, George Osborne, will say that he's going to abolish a so-called death tax rate of 55% that people often pay when they inherit a pension. And the tax currently applies to untouched defined contribution pension pots left by those aged 75 or over, and pensions from which money has already been withdrawn. We'll try and explain some of this in just a second. But speaking this morning, Mr. Osborne said that many people are going to welcome the changes.
This is for everyone who works hard and saves hard for their retirement. There are people with pension pots of £20,000, £30,000, £40,000 who currently pay a 55% tax if they try and pass on any unused part of that pension to their children and their grandchildren and others.
And Alan Hyam is the retirement director of the investment company Fidelity. Says the Chancellor's removing a trap that people often fall into.
That's when they may have taken some of their pension fund, say at age 55, they might have been wanting to take their tax-free cash, but leave the rest till later. Now, up to now, just taking that tax-free cash, or just £1, would have exposed the rest of the pension fund to a 55% tax charge if they were to die before age 75. These changes remove all that little quirk and just simply say, now, if you die before age 75, all your pension fund can pass tax-free to one of your dependents.
Well, Jennie Kreser is an expert in pensions from Silverman, Sherliker in the City. Hello, Jennie.
Good morning, Neil.
We've heard a sort of an explanation there. So this doesn't sound like such a big change. I mean, how many people might be affected by this?
About 320 odd thousand people are possibly going to be affected by this. So we're not talking massive numbers, although, of course, with the all of the other changes which are being introduced, including auto-enrolment of everybody into a workplace pension scheme, the numbers could grow, I think. But at the moment, no, we're not talking massive numbers here.
Right. So this isn't like inheritance tax changes or anything like that. But so just to flesh it out again, you would at the moment be charged this 55% on your pension pot if you've withdrawn something at a certain age.
Yes. So to explain a little bit, traditionally what used to happen if you had one of these defined contribution pensions was that you would buy an annuity, which is an insurance policy. And once that annuity had been purchased, even if you were to die the next day, that was your money completely wiped out. And a few years ago, the government thought, this isn't really a great idea, and so let's look at possible alternatives to having to buy an annuity. And they came up with this idea of income drawdown. And as long as you had a pot of a certain size, you were allowed to take some money in, obviously, tax-free cash. That was a limited amount. And then you could draw down bits to live on. But every time you did that, or as soon as you did that, effectively you got hit with 55% tax charge. And again, obviously, the government thought, maybe that's not a great vote winner. And so what can we do to help pass on monies, hard-earned cash, which people have worked hard all their lives and maybe want to pass it on to their family in a more tax-effective way.
Right. So no one's going to worry about this sort of thing. No one dislikes it when people don't pay tax. So this I just suppose the fact is that it only affects about 300,000 people. It's not exactly going to win the general election on its own, is it?
Not on its own, but it's part of a raft of pensions messages that have gone out over the last year or so. You'll remember the famous the budget, the last budget of, well, you can now blow your pension on a Lamborghini. And this is all part and parcel of a whole package of relaxations on what was really quite complex. I'm not sure this is actually making life that much simpler as far as those of us in the industry is concerned. But it is for individuals, it's just giving a better flexibility in how they spend their cash.
Jolly good.
And it's going to mean that a little bit more planning of people's wills and planning of how they're going to leave their money in the future will probably be necessary.
Okay, Jenny, thanks very much. Jennie Kreser there, who's an expert in pensions, and now